Dillard is our special guest once again. For those of you just joining us, glad to have you here with us in the studio this evening. And so tell us a little bit about you and the trombone, because let's face it, you know, and a lot of cats, I mean, I've been around musician, jazz and everything for a good part of my life, and you don't see as many cats gravitating toward the trombone. You know, it's the trumpet, you know, as far as if you're going toward a horn, you go toward the trumpet or the saxophone. I remember a story Branford Marsalis once told, saying that he had started out playing the clarinet until he found out one thing. He says, I switched to the saxophone because I found out, man, you could get women with the saxophone.
That's not just the men.
Oh, okay, right. Oh, okay. So we know. Now we know from a man who would know, a working musician out there. But so, what made you gravitate toward the trumpet?
Well, you know what? I've always played the trombone coming up. I come from a musical family. My dad played the sax. I really wanted to learn to play the saxophone. He just didn't have time to teach me.
Yeah.
He has a baby brother, my uncle Daniel Dillard. He plays the trombone, and I was just, I don't know, it just piqued my interest very well to the point that I was like, you know what, I want to do that. Not to mention, my dad had stopped playing the saxophone professionally and went into pastoring. In the church that he pastored in, trombone was a prominent instrument. And so it just fell right in line, but I was more of a drummer. And then I switched somewhere in middle school to the bass. I played the bass.
The bass upright,
And,
that's another cool, you know.
Well, the idea was to follow my other uncle, who's a two-time Grammy Award winner, Uncle Moses Dillard. He's passed away.
Yes.
But I want to just give him some props. And
absolutely,
you know, he played the guitar, so I wanted to, you know, transition to the electric bass. Moving to Philly, it didn't happen. And I sat in the back of the band room for probably a year until the music director, Mr. Bill Whitaker, found out I could actually play another instrument that was really needed. And I had been playing the trombone since I was like 6, but not, you know, in school. You know. And when he found out, he put me to work. He put me on every jazz band that he conducted. He put me on every concert band and marching band. And, the rest is history. Next thing I knew, I was in papers in Philadelphia. And, we played at the Capitol. We played for all kind of political dinners and events and stuff like that. That started, you know, the beginning of Mr. Bone Jazz. And I had no idea. I had no idea.
As they say, the rest is history, right?
But I love the trombone, man. It's a different instrument. I'm the guy that goes against the grain to try to do something different. I'm definitely not a follower. I've never been in my life. And, we were able to take the trombone and do something with it differently than what everybody else was doing out there at the time.
And that is true, because even in the contemporary jazz, the smooth jazz realm, once again, you don't hear a lot of trombonists. You hear, again, you know, the more traditional instruments. You hear a lot of soprano sax. You hear a lot of cats. Every cat out there is playing soprano sax to the point where it's enough is enough. And y'all got something different, you know. But you got the soprano, you know, you have a few trumpeters, maybe you have the guitarist, the flute coming along every once in a while.
Bass guitar.
You know, with bass and especially with, goodness, well as I know his name, he just passed away, the basketball player, and I can't think of his name, who played bass. Oh my goodness. Wayman Tisdale. Wayman Tisdale and others who came along who did that. But once again, so you're out there charting new territory out there.
It's rough, man. Just trying to, you know, continue to maintain our ground in a world of piano, saxophone, bass players, leads, and trumpets, you know, saxes. That's all. It's not, like you say, it's not many because it's not an easy instrument to play. It really isn't.
What's some of the things that make trombone more difficult?
You know, it's a heavy instrument, and you got to think. Most artists are on stage for more than a couple hours. Sometimes an hour, maybe 30 minutes. It's a workout. There is no strap.
That's true. You
don't have a strap, so you have to balance it, and it takes a lot of, you know, upper body, you know, strength to balance the horn for that long, and be able to move. Where I move, a lot of trombone players don't move. I'm all over the place, and you know, the way you play it, you're buzzing your lips, and your armature is totally different than sax would be. And the slide. A lot of people don't like the slide because they're not like keys. you can't
It's
press
not
a button.
perfect, right?
Right. You
Yeah.
can't press a button and it just blow like a trumpet or sax. Guitar, you can, touch the fret and you got markers. Trombone, you got to know where those positions are and become one with it, and it's not easy. So I don't know. Over the years, we were able to do that. Myself along with a few others that are out there. Trombone Shawty.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Oh, Shorty, yeah.
Jeff Bradshaw. And, a few others, Wycliffe. A lot of people
Yeah,
know
yeah,
Wycliffe
Wycliffe Gordon, yeah.
He's an awesome trombone.
Yes, he is.
And so Brian Colson.
Yeah.
But that's not their main instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're trailing, blazing trails.
Right.
I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Out there, blazing trails going to get done. Now let's talk about working here in the Charlotte area. Now, you said you grew up for a good part in Philly. Now, you're originally from Greenville, South Carolina?
I'm a native of Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay, and you're back here in the Charlotte region. What made you choose, with many areas to go, especially when pursuing a musical career?
Yes.
I mean, Charlotte, as much as I love, I've been a Charlotte resident now for 16 years, so I guess I'm close to a native. But gotten to know a little bit about the area, and as much as I love it, I'm also realistic that for a musician, it is a tough place to make a living.
It is.
So what made you decide to plant your roots here, to plant that seed here?
You know what, Kurt, when I was, there's a lot of times I say, I should have stayed. I moved away too quick because, of course, in some of your bigger cities, music is, it's a burst.
Yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air. People are more culture driven. They'll come out, they'll support. And I came to Charlotte at a time where it was straight ahead jazz only being played probably at one joint.
Yeah.
Smooth jazz hadn't taken off, cool jazz hadn't taken off, fusion, none of the other jazz genres had taken off. I didn't come here to pursue it.
Yeah.
I was basically starting life over from, some things that was going on, and to get away from home, from under my dad's roof, and, to become a man. Coming down south, playing in church, eventually led to me playing with Shirley Caesar.
Yeah.
Pastor John P. Key, the Williams Brothers.
Yes.
Just getting.
Well, those are the heavy hitters of gospel music. Yes, sir.
Just getting a few, getting my feet wet, and getting in there and doing, these things with bands that were designed. The last artist I played with before forming Buff Dillard Music, which was Bone Jazz Entertainment first.
Okay.
Was Pastor John P. Key. I shared the vision with him of the trombone being out front, and I knew he wasn't gonna go for it. He just wanted to keep me on his belt. I wanted to do both, but I couldn't. I called myself going into early retirement, got into child care and started, found that passion of working with kids and making a difference. But it wasn't long, I was right back in it. Started the company and just kept pushing. I kept grinding. I was playing for weddings. I was playing for private parties out in Valentine and Piper Glen and all these places, and the word spread just spread like wildfire. That, hey, it's this trombonist, and he's different, and he's not doing what everybody else is doing. Forming band after bands, and I don't know. I have no idea how I got to where I am, but by the grace of God, I survived, and it started providing a living for me, and I started the company, Buff Dillard Music Group, and started releasing my music, and it just took off. It took off. It's to the point now where I could barely handle it myself. So I've had to hire an assistant, and we're in negotiations with hiring a management company to manage me, because it's just gotten to be too big over the course.
Listen to chase you down, overtake you,
man.
Uh-huh.
Over the course of 10, 15 years in this area, it's bananas.
Well, that's great, and that's a good thing for it to go. I remember, and we were sharing also off the air, my first exposure to Mr. Dillard was, I guess it was about 3 years ago, when my wife's cousins at her wedding, and it was had been maybe a couple of weeks before that, someone who my wife worked with, a co-worker of my wife, had mentioned this trombonist named Buff Dillard. You should get out and hear him. You know, he's doing some great things out there. And I said, okay, cool. You know, we'd heard a little bit about him. I just made note of the name and then went to the wedding a couple of weeks later. And as everyone was having the recessional after the ceremony, there was just, you know, playing, you know, over a track. There was this one cat sitting on stage playing trombone. And I'm saying, I'm guessing, I said to my wife as we were driving to the reception, that was probably Buff Dillard. You know, I said, I don't know for sure, but, you know, it's just funny.
Know where I'm going to pop up. I love people. I love to perform. I love to entertain. And there's not many times when I get a call, you know, I say no. There's not many times that happen. There are some, but most of the time I'm like, yes, I will accommodate.
Anything's okay, we're going to, since you said that, and I can't help as the interviewer and me, I hear things I have to ask about. You said sometimes you'll say no. Any particular things that will make you immediately say no?
Not enough money. No.
Okay, that's number one.
You know, I'm very peculiar. You know, I'm like I say, I'm open. I'm a people person. I love people. I do have standards.
Yeah.
Who am I playing with? What am I playing for? How the length of time?
Yeah.
Because I know the endurance it takes, you know,
sure.
to do what I'm doing with the trombone. So yeah, so I'm very, very, you know, I do my homework.
Yeah.
And which leads me to this. You know, you're talking about success. I am always, I've always considered myself more of a businessman than a musician. I went to school for business, and you talk about marketing, you talk about, you know, running a business and having a staff, which are my musicians.
Yeah.
I have several that play with me. You know, that's the hardest part, keeping all that in line, then putting on another hat and controlling the music, then put on another hat and being the lead musician, put on another hat and being the director on stage at the same time you're entertaining and controlling the band, directing the band. It's a lot, but I don't realize it until I relax and the gig is over and I'm like, did I do that?
So you're like the musical Headleys, man. You know, those who remember the old Living Color TV show, the Family, the Headleys. Yeah. I got 15 jobs, man. You know.
15. But yeah, that's what it's like, and it's a challenge, but it's something in me that continues to drive towards perfection and to go all the way. And you know, it's just my spirit, dude. It's just my spirit. That's all I can really tell you. I give God the glory for everything that is happening in my life right now, everything that has happened in my life right now. You know, without health and strength, I have nothing.
All right. Well, that's you know where your blessings come from. You know where to give the glory. That's outstanding, man. We're gonna play a little bit more music because we don't want people, you know, as much as we do love to talk, we want people also to understand that that Mr. Dillard has released a pretty terrific album that would be very appropriate for this time of seasons, of course, and it's called Christmas Moments, and we want to get on another track from that. How about Do You See What I See? Does that sound, does that work for you? Well, if you like it, man, now this is here we have a recommendation from the artist himself. He likes it. If he likes it, I like it. Hopefully y'all will like it too. From Mr. Buff Dillard, Mr. Bone Jazz, here is Do You See What I See? Coming to you right now, Jazz Lives with Kurt Jazz on Charlotte Community Radio.
All right, man. That's a different feel.